Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to what used to be a weekly podcast. We are releasing episodes a little more frequently, leading up to our big one on Game of the Year. Joining me, as always, is the one and only Matt Lane. Matt, say hi to the nice people.
Oh, hey, Jay, when do you get here?
Oh, dang. So, if you missed the last episode, basically we took 2 or 3 topics and kind of broke them down game by game, talked about what we thought was going to win, and also talked about what we personally would have voted for, what we personally would like to see win, because oftentimes those are different. And we're going to be doing the same thing today. Let's jump right into it, unless you have anything else you want to add in there, Matt.
Nah, I'm good. Let's just hit the ground rolling.
Let's hit the ground running. Best Narrative is the first one we're going to be talking about today. And that wins an award for the for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. So let's name off the 5 games that are in this category. You got Detroit Become Human. You've got God of War. You have Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. Marvel's Spider-Man with the hyphen, and Red Dead Redemption 2. All games that came out this year. All really good games, quite frankly. This one's tough.
Let me tell you, of the categories we have covered thus far, this one has the biggest headache for me. Trying to really pinpoint what the heck I'm about to say. This is...
Yeah,
are you the same way on that, or do you have like a more of a clear-cut vision of what you think?
I don't know.
My brain's scattered.
Because, like, Detroit Become Human, like, that game is a narrative. That and Life is Strange 2. Like, those games are narrative. You don't really play those games for gameplay. There's not a whole lot of gameplay there. I mean, there is, but, like, the whole point of the gameplay is to better develop the narrative. Like, in Spider-Man, for example, Marvel Spider-Man, like, yeah, there's a story there, but you could skip the story and just focus on beating up the bad guys and doing the quests and missions or whatever. But in Detroit Become Human, you can't skip the story because the whole game is the story, you know?
The game literally is a story.
Yeah. And it's a great... I think Detroit Become Human's only downfall is David Cage, the guy who kind of makes all those games, kind of predictable. Like, there's no huge plot twist. You just kind of see it coming a mile away. But it's still a fantastic experience. You know, Detroit Become Human.
The only exception to that rule, the unpredictable nature of Detroit Become Human would be that almost any of your characters can actually die at any point in time.
Right.
And they stay dead, which is which is a problem. So that's the only unpredictable nature of the game, which is that can tie into it because it does affect the story directly.
I guess and that's the only game in this list with characters with permadeath, so...
Right. So in terms of plot twists, not really, but you have that can kind of completely alter how things play out.
It's true. It's got more endings out of anything on this list. So I have to really pinpoint because I haven't. No, we're not going to spoil any of these games, by the way. If you're worried about spoilers, we're not going to be talking about spoilers because all these games came out this year. They're still new. They're still fresh. So.
I haven't seen the entirety of Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, just because I'm waiting for like a good solid streamer or gamer I know to do it, and then I'll watch theirs as opposed to just some rando.
I feel that. And same here, but just what I know about Rockstar and the work they did in GTA 5 and the amazing story they crafted with that, I got to think RDR2 is going to have a strong narrative to it.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I've watched a little bit of it, and it's already really good. So I know the potential it has. It just depends on where it goes and the lead up. But it's definitely, I do not think it's going to be a back runner by any means. But I do know Spider-Man and God of War, and I know both of them have certain plot twists in their own right. Some, a little more than others. Life is Strange 2 is probably the one I know the least about. In comparison,
but I did play Life is Strange 1, so I kind of know what to expect.
I do know it is much like Detroit Becomes Human. It's pretty much all plot.
Yeah, and your choices change the game and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, it's a Square Enix game, so it's just going to be one of those. But so going off the theme of what we've been talking about, the game that I would like to win this this is tough.
Yeah, this one's really hard.
This is just a doozy because I don't have anything like in all the other ones. I at least had a few options was like, no, don't want that one, don't care. But this one,
I'm not going to be
don't
upset.
have that.
I'm not going to be upset if any of these win this.
Right. Like
I'd be surprised if Spider-Man did. I'll say that. This narrative was not Spider-Man's strong suit. It wasn't bad, but
right.
Not as good as some of these other games, you know?
It was very good for a Spider-Man game and what we've had in the past for most of them. There, you have a few of those exceptions that were really good, but for what it was good. In comparison to the rest of these games in this category, I agree. I think it's not exactly holding a candle to what the rest of these bring to the table. I'm just going to have to make a choice. Because otherwise I'm just going to be here all day just pondering what the heck do I want to get this. I really, when I think about it the most, I just have to go with Detroit Become Human, just because I do like those games to where every single decision you make is like a domino effect and it's just drastically changing what the heck happens. I know that and Life is Strange are going to be very similar in that regard, but just for that and how beautiful the graphics are, I guess I'm just me saying I guess just kind of shows you my dedication to that nominee. Exactly. I mean, it's if I have to pick one that I want to win, I guess Detroit Become Human.
So if you were casting the ballot, that's the one you'd vote for?
Sure.
All right.
Honestly, if you really want to know, I'd probably get a dartboard, get some pieces of paper, put a blindfold on, and then throw it. That way I didn't have to commit to anything.
Yeah, I feel you there. Though I haven't played it, I think I'd throw my dart in the direction of Life is Strange 2.
Okay.
Just because the first one, holy cow, they know how to write a story. They know how to make you feel things. I gotta give it to Life is Strange. As far as what do I think is actually gonna win?
But before you say that, moving into that category though, do you think that in all reality that they're going to completely throw away every other aspect and truly focus on nothing but storytelling and narrative, or do you think they're going to let a little bit of gameplay kind of seep in there and kind of affect?
Oh no, I think that this, as long as this isn't one of the ones. Oh, this you can put on this one. That's interesting. I don't know. It comes down to the people voting on it, I guess.
Right.
But because that's so hard, you know.
The reason I ask that is because if at all people let that affect the vote, then games like Life is Strange and maybe even Detroit Become Human suddenly become casualties because the other games on this list bring a lot more to the table on the other aspects.
Yeah.
Not that they don't have strong narratives too, because they do, but Life is Strange and Detroit Become Human is just almost purely narrative is the entire focus, which would make me think that by default, one of those two would need to win this category because that's literally what the entire freaking game is.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. You can have a game that's just narrative that sucks.
Well, I was going to say it's not just because it is; it's also good narrative.
Yeah, both of them.
On top of that,
again, I don't know anything about Life is Strange 2. I'm working solely off of information given to me based off of playing Life is Strange 1.
Okay,
it's. They know what they're doing there. But to get back to it, like, what do I think is going to win this one? Again, and this sucks because I'm just going off of the ones I know. I haven't played Life is Strange 2. I've seen Let's Plays of Detroit Become Human, God of War. I've played Marvel Spider-Man, and I actually don't know a whole lot about Red Dead Redemption 2. But out of all of these, the one that I kept saying, man, I gotta know what happens next, God of War.
Okay.
That's the one I'm going to give it to. That was the story that enticed me the most. And again, that's not fair because I haven't played Life is Strange 2, and I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2. So, but if just off of the knowledge I have, if I had to pick a winner, the one I think is going to win, God of War.
Right. And for those unfamiliar, this is not spoiler territory, so don't put your guard up.
I don't even know the end of the game yet of God of War because I started to watch a Let's Play of it, and I was like, I got to play this for myself.
It's really good. It's definitely going to be good for you whenever you get to that point.
I'm sure.
But for those unaware, God of War for the longest time has been the Greek mythos of things, and they decided to shake things up a little bit, and they kind of suddenly crossed the streams, as Ghostbusters would say, and went into the Norse side of things as well. To where now, and they focused on that a lot more than they did Greek this time, but you still have a little bit of both kind of intertwining. So that really opened up the floodgates for a lot of different things, and they did a new way of telling the story. And is it canon to Greek mythos? No, but it's a cool, unique spin on Greek mythos that has been played out and overdone a million times. So to me, it's a nice, refreshing way to look at it. It's really cool. It's well done. It does surprise you, like Jay said, in multiple ways, and you're kind of just wanting to know what's happening next. But gosh, this is what makes it so freaking hard, because Detroit
might be the hardest one we've talked about so far, like hands down.
I definitely agree. Let me just go. The only way I'm gonna do kind of like this, like Jay had to do in an episode. Let me talk through each of these, because
absolutely,
this is going to be miserable for me otherwise.
And that'll help us all get. You probably know more about some of these games than I do, even so. By rule, whether it is going to be a front runner or not, I have to eliminate Life is Strange 2 because I know little to nothing about it. That's unfair to the game, and I say that. I mean, it can still win regardless if we pick it, and you wouldn't be upset about it,
right? No, not at all. I'm not going to be upset with any of these games,
right?
I have to go ahead and rule that one out just for lack of knowledge. I just don't know that one. By the way, we're going to fix that on the next 2 episodes. We'll have a lot more time to do research than we did with this episode. So hopefully we won't run into this issue moving forward, but this is just one of those that just kind of is what it is for now. We just didn't have enough time to do research on everything. So that's a game I don't know, so I have to eliminate that one. I would go ahead and agree with Jay and eliminate Marvel Spider-Man. Again, not a bad story in its own right, but when you look at the other 3 games we're comparing it to here, to me, it doesn't hold up. Not to the same way. Then we have the top 3. Ah, jeez. My gut tells me for now, whether I want to or not, I kind of have to just let go of Red Dead 2, just because I haven't watched all of it. I know it's going to be good from what I've seen, because it's already good for the little parts I've seen, but I'm just, again, waiting on the streamer that I kind of know or a little more attached to, and kind of watch their go through it. But it's one of those games that it does have narrative, but that's such a freaking massive game with so many other things to do that you can spend a lot of time without touching narrative at all in between. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, even if it is good, maybe it doesn't actually beat the other 2 because of how much space you can have between that. And sometimes if narrative isn't constantly being refreshed and brought up, it can take away from the strength and value of it because you're doing too much in between. Now, granted, that's completely on the user. That's nothing to do with the game, but that's just my thought process here, just attempting to quantify this as best I can. Does that at least make sense, or am I just spouting nonsense?
No, I don't know that I necessarily agree with you, but I see your logic.
Okay. It's more of just me trying to make myself feel better in an answer than it is anything.
Fair enough. What about these last 2, Matt?
Oh, gosh. This sucks. This sucks so bad.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Nope. Okay. I just made it easier for myself. So in respect to the very first thing I did in episode 6, just to give myself a different answer than I gave Jay, I'll go with Detroit Become Human
Solid
as far as the winner. As we've said at the very beginning, I could see literally any of these winning this, and it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be upset. I think any of these could deserve it. If I'm being honest, I don't think Spider-Man holds up to what the rest of these do story-wise, but Spider-Man was still good enough to where I'd be like, okay, sure. I mean, why not? Basically at that point. But so I say Detroit Become Human. Jay says God of War. Both, and we could all be wrong. And Life is Strange 2 could get it, or
Yeah, let us know what your vote is, or whatever.
Whatever. I'm not your dad.
I'm just so blown away by this category that my head hurts. Let's go to something a little lighter, shall we?
Fair enough.
We're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about best mobile game next. That is the best game played on a dedicated mobile device.
It should be a phone or a tablet, basically.
Right. So you have 5 games in this category. Most categories have 5. Some of them have 6. 5 games in this category. You've got Donut Country. You have
County.
Florence. It is County. Oh, I'm so sorry. Donut County. You're right. Donut County. Florence. Fortnite. PUBG Mobile. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Mobile. PUBG, as I call it. And Reigns Game of Thrones. Full disclosure on this. I haven't heard of 3 of them, and it doesn't matter. I feel really bad. I'm gonna actually download Donut County right after this podcast and maybe play it a little bit.
Is it free?
I don't know. Well, okay, that's true. If it's free, I'll download it. If not, I'll go with Florence or maybe Reigns or something like that. But
well, let me preface that, because in the world we live in, I can almost guarantee, because Fortnite and PUBG are both free, if any of these other 3 are not free, then they for sure have no chance. Just
maybe.
None. Me and Jay kind of already agree and think they don't have a chance anyways. But
yeah, when it comes down to it, now granted, I'm not a mobile gamer, so maybe Donut County or Florence, they're absolutely massive mobile games that I've just never heard of because I'm not in that community. But Fortnite has such a huge footprint. PUBG Mobile has such a huge footprint. I find it hard to believe that either one of these 2 games aren't gonna take.
For sure, but in the spirit of what we've been doing, what would you want to win?
The one I want to win is neither one of those 2. I'll give it to Donut County just to give it. It looks delightful. Like
it literally, like the image of the top of it looks like they stole something from The Simpsons. Almost.
Yeah, it's a pink donut. It's a giant pink donut. Like, it's right out of The Simpsons.
Right.
The art direction's very different from The Simpsons, but...
For sure.
Definitely inspired by, which is not a bad thing.
I don't know. This one's tough because, like Jay, I don't know hardly anything about the games outside of Fortnite and PUBG, just because, I don't know. I don't play mobile games that look like these other 3 do. They're just kind of...
Yeah, and ultimately it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, but I know it would not be Game of Thrones. Oh, boy. I have no idea what this is about, but just for kicks and giggles, I'll say Florence.
It's an interactive story about love and life. That's all I know about it.
Sure.
Which those can be fun to play, too.
That's all the picture says about it.
It's going to come down to Fortnite and PUBG Mobile. The one I think is going to win is Fortnite.
It's gonna come down to those 2, without a doubt.
I think Fortnite's gonna take it. Hands down.
So you're giving your clear stamp to Fortnite.
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm divided on this. I think.
Why can't you ever just give a friggin' simple answer?
What fun would that be? I mean, really. No, I truly am, because I think Jay's right that Fortnite, because I can't remember if it's this episode or the last one that Jay said PUBG has kind of started to die off. You know, they've kind of already hit their peak or their crescendo. And I agree with that. But PUBG Mobile was, I haven't given Fortnite Mobile a chance in a while, but it was infinitely better than Fortnite Mobile was.
Oh, see, that's interesting. I did play PUBG, but I did not play Fortnite Mobile.
Fortnite Mobile was incredibly tough to pull off because of the building.
Oh, that's a good point.
That was really tricky.
It's not changing my answer, but it's a good point.
That's why I'm torn on this. It's not to be difficult or anything like that, but it's because one game was actually like, it genuinely was hard enough in a user-friendly format to where I just did not want to play. It wasn't because I wasn't good at it or didn't want to spend the time. I was like, this is just genuinely difficult this is not a easy system to use kind of thing. It's uncomfortable. It feels bulky. I have to move my hands around a lot. It just wasn't, it wasn't very intuitive. PUBG, exact opposite. You could pull it up, put your hands in one place, and then just kind of roll with it from there, which to me in a mobile game is what I want. It had a lot more applications that made sense, but granted, I haven't played Fortnite Mobile in a long time now because I only did it like when it came out, and it was so bad and so tough that it just was like, I can't do this.
Fair.
Especially when they started rolling out to where you could cross play. Now you could toggle that on and off, so you weren't forced into that.
Right.
But because that was a nightmare. But PUBG, I mean, it has some really cool features that you would want in mobile, like before you launch, being able to click any of the 4 members on your team and hitting follow so that it would latch onto them and automatically go wherever they did without you having to tell it to do that. So if you wanted to, in the long wait of the lobby and the plane and the diving and stuff like that, if you wanted to put the phone down and go do something real quick, you could literally click that and it would follow your team and stay with them without you having to be glued to it, which is very, people kind of ask, what's the point of that in a game? Like, well, in a console game, sure, it's irrelevant because if you're gaming, be there to game. But in a mobile sense, a lot of people sometimes do this not necessarily when they have a lot of free time. They may just, hey, I got a second, let me do this, and then something comes up or something gets thrown in the mix, and hey, let me just click this real quick while I go answer this question or do whatever I got to do, and then come right back. And at the time, Fortnite did not have that. I don't know if they've rectified that now, but just little things like that. The game as itself, combat-wise, was just tremendously easier to use. Like I cannot stress how much easier it was, and I'm not that good at either of them, so I still suck either way on the mobile sense. I'm a lot better on PS4 than I am on mobile, but and PUBG is not for PS4, so the ironic part is I can only play Fortnite when I go to PS4, but when I go to mobile, I play PUBG. So it's tough because I agree with Jay. I think Fortnite has the audience. I think it has the numbers, if you will. But I think as a game, PUBG Mobile is better, if I'm being honest. And the category is best game playable on a dedicated mobile device. So my answer as to what I view as the best game on mobile is PUBG.
It's a good answer. You certainly made your case for it,
Right. I think Jay kind of hit the nail on the head either way. He's like, we know it's coming down to these two, and honestly, it's a freaking coin flip.
Yeah, and that might be on us for not doing our homework on these ones. Again, we'll fix that in the next one. But this is like we sat down, we had our production meeting about what it is we're going to be talking about, and then we started recording. So we recorded last episode and this episode just now. I hate to date the episode, but it is what it is. And then we're going to take a break for a couple of days and do our homework and come back and do episodes 9 in one go.
Right.
So,
which is the nature of the beast when you're both adults and you're both married and you both work full time. It's just, and you're approaching holiday season, no less. So it gets a little difficult scheduling wise, but, what Jay said is true there, but Jay, you want to go ahead and take us to the last topic of the day?
Why don't we go ahead and run down the home stretch here? This last category we're going to be talking about today is best audio design. So it recognizes the best in-game audio and sound design. Now this isn't music. This isn't anything to do with really gameplay a heck of a whole lot. A little bit, but not a heck of a whole lot. It's really how the audio impacts your gameplay. You know, how the audio enriches your experience while playing this. And so
it can be anything to the sound effects that a weapon makes, or
the environment,
the environment, or something startling you because of like a random sound, or making you feel immersed in what's actually happening.
That's a really good way to put it. This is a heavy immersion factor. So the best in-game audio and sound design our games for this category, the nominees, if you will, are Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Forza Horizon 4, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Let me tell you what Jay's vote is not. Marvel Spider-Man.
Well, no, actually, that's the problem I have with Marvel Spider-Man is the music. That would be score and soundtrack.
Right.
Honestly, the audio design, I think Marvel Spider-Man nails it.
Okay.
The sound that you make in combat when you connect with enemies, with especially like your takedown moves or whatever, just like the sound that you make when you kick an enemy in the head or something like that, it's very satisfying and it makes me feel good. And I like that a lot.
So is that actually the one you want to win?
I wouldn't go that far.
Because you're like, whoa, now.
I'm going to talk through this one if that's all right, just real quickly, because we're kind of at the end of the episode here. But Call of Duty Black Ops 4, same thing as Spider-Man. Like it's satisfying. You know, when you hit an enemy with a bullet at range or even something up close, like it just sounds good. Like it makes you feel good when you do it. Not in a creepy, like I'm a serial killer kind of way, but in a, hey, I just did that kind of way, you know? Forza Horizon 4, a game I've not played, but the one thing I remember most about the trailers for this game when they were showing it off in the high def and the 4K and all that jazz is the sound your cars made when it drove through puddles or through piles of leaves. Very serene, very satisfying. And I hate to overuse that word satisfying, but like that's what it is. And I could see that, and I got the same vibes from God of War that I got from Spider-Man. Like the combat, it sounded good when you did things. And again, I hate to do this. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, so I don't know. The one I want to win here? This one's rough.
Mm-hmm.
The one I personally would like to see win this game, probably Marvel Spider-Man. I'll go ahead and say it.
Okay.
Just the web slinging, the sound that made really added to the experience. The wind sound as you're swinging through the city, combat, all that stuff, the gadgets. It all sounded so good and really helped enrich the experience.
Okay. I'm on the same page in the want category that is tough. I really don't have a favor as far as like I wouldn't be disappointed in any of these.
Right.
For sake of, I'll go with God of War on the want, just because, and it really doesn't have anything to do with the audio design, so that's kind of unfair to use that. But just for the sake of that game and what it is and how different it is from its predecessors and what they accomplished, it was very impressive and really neat. And they had to change so much, including the audio design, because you went from a hack and slash to something like this.
Yeah.
So it was very impressive in its own right. So
like even the sound your axe made when you like frosted it up, like really satisfying.
Right. So just for all the hard work they put into that, I think it would be nice for them to see the fruits of their labor there. But the one I think is actually going to take it, I think is actually fairly easy. And I think I'm fortunate on this one that you haven't done enough homework on this one. Red Dead 2.
Oh, yeah?
I don't even really think it's that much of a question. They went into an absurd amount of detail on visual and audio. And I mean absurd level of stuff to where I can't remember the exact name for it, but someone said it was the most impressive snow engine they had ever seen in their lives.
Yeah, the snow collapse or snow destruction or whatever it's called.
Right. Not only for
make things in the snow.
Right. Not only for the visual, but for the audio side of it. You feel like it's not just a repeated sound effect. It's just happening over and over and over every time you touch snow. It actually feels like what would happen if you were walking in it. You can see.
More importantly, for this category, it sounds like walking through snow.
Right. In terms of wind, in terms of water.
That crunch that it makes under your feet.
Crunch of, dust bowls. You have gunshots. If you hit a freaking rock with a bullet, you'll hear the ricochet and hear an echo fade into the distance like you would. Like it's incredible. The amount of detail that went into this. It's really worth a look if you haven't looked into it by this point. I know you said you didn't want to spoil too much of the game for yourself.
Right.
Yet,
for those of you wondering why the heck I haven't played this game yet, being such a big Rockstar fan, I really wanted to play it on the PC, but it's getting harder and harder to wait, man.
Yeah, and they don't seem to be really changing their stance on it.
Well, it is coming to PC. That's a fact.
Well, I mean, of the soon, it's just I haven't seen a date.
No, there is not one currently. I heard a lot of people saying it'll be a year, and I don't want to wait a year. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with you that honestly, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 will take it.
Oh wait, did you not make a vote already?
Not for the one I think will actually do it. I voted for the one that I want to win, but not the one I thought would.
I should have kept quiet.
No, you're good. I mean, I would have voted for it anyway, just because of what I know about it.
Well, I wanted to win. Dang it.
Well, sorry. You can still win. We'll just both win. It's not a contest.
I do think it's a fair vote. It's not to say again, none of these would shock me because they're all so good in their own right.
I wouldn't be angry if Forza won. I wouldn't be like, but Red Dead. No, I'd be like, they worked hard on it. It's got great audio.
Right. All of these are good enough to where you'd be like, yeah. I haven't seen many categories yet to where I'm disappointed in a lot of the choices. I am a little surprised that Destiny 2 made it into as many categories as it did.
Still scratching my head as to why Fortnite's in some of these because that game didn't come out this year. But
yeah, there's that. But then, at least in the popularity side of Fortnite, it makes sense. With that aside, but some of the ones
best ongoing, and that's it. You can't be a best ongoing game from a year prior and still be in a category for this year.
Right. It doesn't make sense, but at least most of the rest of them have up until this point. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode. So in terms of the best narrative, I can't even remember what you went with at this point.
Best narrative, the one I went for? I think I went for Life is Strange 2.
That's right, and I think
I don't remember. I don't know. We'll listen back.
I don't even remember. Go back and look. Either way, tell us what you think.
I want that one to win, but I said God of War would.
Gotcha. I'm pretty sure I said Detroit Becomes Human on that one.
Yeah, you said both.
Yeah, I knew mobile. You said Fortnite. I said PUBG, and then the audio design. We both said Red Dead. So let us know what you think on each of those categories, whether it be which one you think is going to win or which one you want to win, or both. And they can be the same or different answers. Doesn't matter. And look forward to moving on to episodes 8 and 9. Again, we're going to do a little bit more research going into those, so where hopefully there are no games to where we have the answers of, I don't know, just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard. Hopefully we'll fix that there. I don't know when these episodes are coming out at this point, so I don't even know what day it is right now that you're listening to this. But I do know this is episode 2 of a 4-part series of just going over the categories that are leading up to Game of the Year. And then as soon as the award show happens, as soon as we are able, we will have episode 10 and a special stream.
It'll be live over on twitch.tv/letschase.
It'll be live there. His Twitch channel is literally in the description of every single podcast that we have on YouTube, so you can find it anywhere. If not, it's literally Let's Chase. It's not that hard to remember. It's twitch.tv/Let's Chase. But again, you have the link in any of the description. And we'll have the live stream there to where we go over every single category that we've talked about, and maybe even more. And just have a good time, just chill. Kind of like we did with episode 5. It was a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that episode again because it's just a fun time to hang out and have a live audience and interact with them in that way. But thank you for listening to this point. Let us know what your thoughts on these categories were. And we will see y'all on the next episode.
Yeah, just a few days from now. Keep a lookout for it.
Or yesterday.